I stand before you today as the granddaughter of an iron ore miner, the daughter of a teacher and a newspaper man, the first woman elected to the U.S. Senate from the state of Minnesota, and a candidate for president of the United States. I will end this president's shameful efforts to gut the Affordable Care Act. And by the way, as we look at the Affordable Care Act, I want you to remember one thing. As we look at, do we blow it up, do we this, you know where I am on this, I think we make it better. The Affordable Care Act is now 10 points more popular than the President of the United States. And we can be both progressive and practical by taking on this issue in a smart way, not by kicking 143 million Americans off of their current health insurance, but by making the Affordable Care Act stronger. So I put out a whole plan for mental health and addiction, how you're going to pay for it, what you do in terms of counselors, what you do in terms of schools. I was in Wackalow in a small restaurant meeting with a school counselor. She'd just gotten off work, and she said that day alone she'd had 4 kids come up to her and tell her that they had thought of suicide. 4 kids. They were all immigrant kids. All their parents worked at the plant, and they were all afraid that their families were going to be deported. That's happening right now. We've had a 30% increase in suicides in the last 15 years in our state, with a major increases in rural areas, of veterans, with LGBTQ youth, and yet no one's really doing much about it. So I hope as we move forward in our party, we will seize the reins on this thing. Other challenges that Donald Trump has not been up to. The challenge of working with the rest of the world. The fact that he seems to always side, if there's a way he finds it, with tyrants over innocents, with dictators over our allies. I believe we should reassert American values. Bring back the clean power standards, bring back the gas mileage standards. These were all things that had been negotiated during the Obama administration. And these 3 things that I just mentioned, a president can do them herself. What are some other big challenges that we have to take on? Well, one is taking on the NRA. And like Minnesota is a proud hunting state, so is Iowa. And I look at these gun safety measures and I say, do they hurt my Uncle Dick in the deer stand? They do not. Universal background checks does not hurt my Uncle Dick in the deer stand. What happened when those kids in Parkland stood up? That's when things changed in a different way. That is when the House passed universal background checks after the new Congress came in. They closed the Charleston loophole, which will give the police more time to vet, and they closed the boyfriend loophole, which is my bill that I've been trying to push for years, that I wrote, that says that domestic abusers, convicted domestic abusers, should not be able to get out AK-47. Well, guess what happened to those 3 bills, despite having some Republican support in the House? They are all sitting where? On Mitch McConnell's desk, along with 400 other bills that are awaiting action. So we get back to my original premise, that if we want to get these things done, we can't just win by a little, we have to win big.